Welcome to Coffee with Viking. I am Mike. Cheers. Joseph's brothers sell him into slavery. Genesis 37:23 and 24. When Joseph arrives, his brothers rip off his beautiful robe he was wearing. Then they grabbed him and threw him into a cistern. Jacob plays favorites with his dozen sons. Normally, it's the oldest son who gets special attention, and that would be Reuben, son of Leah. But Jacob preferred the oldest son of his dear Rachel, Joseph, number 11. In line of the dozen boys, Rachel had died en route to Canaan while giving birth to her second son, Benjamin. So these two boys are all Jacob has to remember the only woman he truly loved. Joseph grows into a spoiled, braggadocious, tattletale teen, and his big brothers grow to hate him for it. A dream is what turns his brothers violent. Joseph, age 17, tells his family he had a dream that the sun, moon, and 11 stars bowed before him. Even old Jacob gets upset about that because he sees the symbolism. Genesis 37:10. Will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow to the ground before you? Jacob scolded. Soon afterward, perhaps within a few weeks, Jacob's 10 oldest sons are out grazing the sheep about 60 miles north of the Hebron home. That's about a hard 3-day walk. Jacob sends Joseph to check on them, so Joseph puts on the beautiful robe his father had given him, and he heads out. Here comes the dreamer, one of his brothers says. They ripped off Joseph's robe and throw him into a dry cistern, which is a deep pit that's built to store water. While they argue over whether or not to kill him, a trader's caravan stops. The caravan is headed to Egypt, and one of the merchants agrees to buy Joseph and sell him in Egypt as a slave. Selling price, 8 ounces of silver. On today's market, that's about $80 when silver sells for $10 an ounce. With Joseph gone, the brothers smear his torn robe in goat's blood. Then they take it home and tell their dad they found it, convincing old Jacob that a wild animal ate his son. There's no consoling Jacob. The love of his life is gone, and so is her first son. And on this little side note, Daddy is my grandpa. Judah, one of Jacob's dozen sons, fathered twin boys with his daughter-in-law. In fairness to Judah, he thought she was a prostitute. The woman's name was Tamar. She married Judah's son but he died before the couple had any children. Custom called for brother to marry the widow. That way Tamar could have a son in name to inherit property. Women couldn't inherit property since they were property. Younger brother Onan married Tamar and they slept together, but he refused to release his semen inside her. He wanted his children to inherit all the property. For that, God killed him. With 2 sons down, Judah refused to give Tamar his next son, Shelah. So Tamar, dressed as a prostitute, covered her face with a veil and put herself in Judah's path. He propositioned her and slept with her and gave her his walking stick as collateral for payment. She kept the stick, which turned out to be a good thing for her. When Judah found out Tamar was pregnant, he ordered her burned to death. That's when she brought out the walking stick. Humiliated Judah replied, "She is more righteous than I am, because I didn't arrange for her to marry my son Shelah." And that's in Genesis 38:26. Tamar's twins, Perez and Zerah, became the legal sons of Ur. Judah never slept with Tamar again. Now, as we have read in today's notes on Joseph and his brothers, we see that the jealousy of the brothers had overwhelmed them to the point that they were debating eliminating him permanently or just throwing him down into a well and letting that take him, until they saw someone heading to Egypt selling merchandise and decided to sell him but take the robe and make it look like a wild animal ate him. But if we all know the story of Joseph all too well, and I'm sure we all do, that the dream he had about the brothers bowing down to him with his parents, that this is only the start, that it was during his slavery in Egypt that he actually wound up getting his blessings from God and becoming a leader himself, as we will be working towards getting into as we go on through Genesis. The thing with Joseph was he was a bit of a braggart and a tattletale, as we read there, but it is his time in slavery where he actually draws closer to God, and all of that departs from him, because as you might remember, he becomes one of the most godly of leaders. And another lesson we should learn, on top of not bragging about anything, is don't let jealousy overwhelm you either, like the brothers did. Jealousy is one of the most wicked things that we could let take over our minds, because it will cause us to do some of the most evil things, like his brothers did. Stay blessed. Stay caffeinated. Much love.